Hey, you guys. So, today I want to spend a little more time talking about sharing some of my story. Some of you know that when I was a kid, I definitely went to food to make myself feel better and would mostly it was chocolate. And I remember that I would go to the store and I would buy M&Ms and or Reese's Pieces was another one of my favorites. And then I had a little spot that I would keep it in my room, and then one of my favorite things to do was read books, read fiction. And it was actually really, as I look back, I realized that was kind of another addiction, because I constantly would lose myself in fiction, but that's another topic for another day. Um, so anyway, I would always have some sort of sweet on hand, and I would hide it in my room, and then I would sit and I would read my books, and I would just totally binge on chocolate. And another thing, I remember we would sell candy bars for like the drama department or something at school, and we would have those big, huge candy bars, and I would sit and eat two or three of those in my room at night. And there was always a sense of shame about it too. I mean, it was a compulsion, and I felt guilty about it. I felt bad because I knew that it wasn't, it just wasn't good for me, and I had weight loss dreams at the time, and I knew that it wasn't getting me getting me anywhere as far as that went. And so anyway, um, when I look back, I realized that what was happening was there were feelings that were going on for me that I was uncomfortable with. And instead of being able to process my feelings and work through whatever was going on, instead I was just stuffing them and and making myself feel better with the food. And so what I realize now, and of course most of us aren't taught how to deal with our emotions or any traumas that happen as we're growing up. And it's I oftentimes talk about the irony about how we're being taught trigonometry, although I never got that far with math, but that was like my worst subject. But anyway, it just seems so ironic that we just aren't taught the tools that we need in life, to manage our emotions. But anyway, I digress. I didn't know what to do with my feelings. I didn't know what to do with my sadness. I didn't know when my parents got upset with me or projected something onto me that was what was going on. And so instead, just stuffed everything, internalized everything, and pushed it down even more with food. And so the main thing that I've realized now is that there was a feeling that was happening that I didn't want to feel. And so instead of being willing, oh, I hear somebody coming home. I'm going to walk upstairs with you and finish this video. Um, I just didn't realize that all that feeling needed was for me to be with it and acknowledge it and just really experience the feeling that I was having. Um, and of course, there's other things that you can do to process through your emotions. Um, but the main thing that I really needed at that time was just to be um, present with what was going on. So, for example, if somebody said something to me at school that day, and boy did they, because I was bullied quite a bit. Um, and I, instead of taking that experience and just being willing to be with the hurt and be with the sadness, I I just, as I said, I went to food, and but now I know that really those feelings aren't going to hurt me. The feelings that come up in my life, they're they really aren't going to hurt me. It's just a feeling, but I got so used to repressing them, and when I would feel uncomfortable, um, finding some way to press it down, just became a way of life. It became a habit. And so then I realize now I spent all this time trying to avoid feeling whatever it was that I was feeling. And really, when I allow myself to just feel whatever my emotions are, my feelings now, they really just kind of pass on by. In fact, recently, my husband and I were talking about something, and I was getting really pissed off. I was definitely getting triggered by a situation, and it wasn't between him and I. It was something else that was going on that we were talking about. And I told him, I said, you know what? He wanted to keep talking, and I said, you know what? Just can you give me a minute? Because I need to just really sit here and feel what it is that I'm feeling. And so I did, and it just what happened was, it took a couple minutes. It took a couple minutes, but I just sat with it, and then I sat with it, and I was like, okay, it's this still here. And then eventually it just kind of eased away. It just kind of dissipated. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready to talk again. But I realized that that's all my emotions ever needed, was just to be acknowledged, to be heard. And if I now need to comfort myself through something, I have those self comforting tools, and I use it all the time. Sometimes at night when I go to bed, I might feel a little bit anxious, and now I will give myself a hug, and I'll hold myself as I go to sleep and just say, you know what, Koch, it's going to be okay. And it might sound a little cheesy, but I'm okay with that. Like I love that I can be there for myself. And that was all I ever needed when I was growing up. It's ideal if if our parents can show up for us and be there for us, or whoever we have in our lives raising us, and they just did the best that they could. So I'm not faulting anyone, but it's so wonderful to know now that I can have my own back. I can be present with whatever it is that I'm feeling, and I until it just kind of eases on by. So that's my invitation to you. If you're feeling like you want to, you're feeling bored and you want to go to the pantry, or you're feeling pissed off and you want to go crunch on some chips, or whatever else, is that sometimes our feelings just need to be allowed, and they just need to be felt with acceptance and love and patience and compassion. And when we're willing to do that, we a new habit becomes established. A new habit is formed where we welcome and are willing to spend time with all emotions. That we don't just want the good ones. We don't just look forward to the next good time that's coming. We can actually just be present with whatever suck fest is happening in the moment, knowing that this too shall pass. So that's my invitation to you today, is when you feel something like that coming on, to just maybe spend time with that feeling and just be willing. And I like to this is just a suggestion, maybe it might be something that works for you too, but very often when I'm feeling that way, I'll put my hands over my heart and just feel whatever it is. My hands, sometimes one hand over my heart and one hand over my tummy, and it's just really, really, even now, I just feel the depth of a depth of gratitude for knowing that it's enough that I can just be here for myself. So anyway, I hope that resonates for you on some level, on all levels, hopefully. But I will see you soon back here for another video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.